Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today it is a time for an episode of Good Garden and Bad Garden. So I'm going to show you the good stuff that's happening and compare it with some of the bad stuff that's happening, because there's always bad stuff happening in the garden. Let's take a look around. So we're going to start off over here with the tomato plants, and just check out those tomatoes. Look how good they look. Nice and healthy. No signs of blossom end rot on the bottom. Scooting around over here. That one looks a little funky, but sometimes you get a funky tomato every now and then. It makes life interesting. And then we'll go over here, and then there's some more tomatoes down there. Amish paste. More Amish paste right there. And over here we've got the yellow gooseberries, which are looking fantastic. There's more, and there's even more. And then spinning back around over here, you got some yellow pears. And maybe I'm moving a little too fast on this, but I want to show everything here. And we've got these cherry tomatoes, which are looking great. And they're going to be all over the place. So we got a lot more good tomato stuff going on. They all look pretty healthy. They're all producing some tomatoes right now. So we are really excited about the tomatoes. Now it's time for a bad garden thing. And right here, check this out. We have some sort of caterpillars all over this hibiscus. At first I thought it was going to be Japanese beetles, but you can see these little caterpillars are munching away and making all kinds of holiness here on this hibiscus. This one normally flowers bright and red flowers, and it's got this dark, beautiful foliage most of the time. But it has been decimated, so I need to come out here and spray for these caterpillars so that this hibiscus has a chance to show off this summer. Another good garden thing is we finally got up the second layer of wire mesh along our fence area. Now, the reason we rushed to do this just now is because we noticed that deer were starting to come in. You see, one of the worst weeds that I've got here is bindweed, and it likes to grow up everything. And so what I've done is I sever it down at the bottom so the top of it dies. But if you ever see the bindweed where it's got the tops kind of broken off right there like that, that's where deer has eaten it. Deer really seem to enjoy bindweed for some reason, and they'll come by and eat it. So, because this is a good garden thing, I've got this fence up here now on top of these posts. Let me explain what's happening over here. See on those holes? That is actually done by a pileated woodpecker. And the carpenter bees come in first. They drill holes in and put their larvae into the holes, and then the carpenter bee comes along and eats the larvae by pecking the heck out of the post. So that's kind of a bad thing for my posts anyway, but it's like having a woodpecker feeder, I guess. So overall though, this is a good thing because I finally got my upper layer of the fence put on here to help protect against the deer, which are constantly bothering my garden. And here we have another good garden thing because the Monarda is all in bloom. And if you watch, you see all these bees really enjoy it. There goes a carpenter bee, speaking of. And they love bee balm. That's the other name for this. This is Monarda. And it will spread through rhizomes all over the place. This started off as one little twig, and it's really grown quite large. But it is a great one for pollinators. Also on the Monarda, we are getting something bad. This is powdery mildew. See that whiteness right there? Monarda is extremely prone to powdery mildew, but that's easily taken care of with a antifungal spray, something like a baking soda and water solution to go through and spray down those things. I usually don't even worry about it on the Monarda because it doesn't seem to really affect their growth. They are such strong growers. It is a little bit unsightly, but I'm not really that worried about it here. Here is a good garden thing. The shade garden is looking amazing right now. We've got that Annabelle hydrangea right there, and all these hostas coming through. We got some weeds I got to come in here and weed out. We've got the hellebore. The flowers on the hostas look amazing, and you really, really ought to enjoy those hosta flowers. They are really cool. Now, hosta is actually an edible plant. You can harvest it and eat it as a salad, just like the deer do. Although they don't exactly harvest it, they just kind of eat it in place. I suppose you could graze like a deer if you wanted to, but that would look kind of funny to your neighbors. And here is a bad part of the garden. Right here along this border of rocks, I have got a tremendous amount of Bermuda grass that has crept in and taken over. So I need to get out here and go pull and pull and pull the Bermuda grass and try to get it out of here. This is kind of interwoven with the phlox, and there's all kinds of stuff here that used to do really well, but the Bermuda grass just seems to want to completely take over. And here's a good garden thing. This is Beautyberry. Calicarpa is an amazing plant to have in your garden. It has these humongous purple berry clusters that appear in the fall. And you can see right there, those little green dots, those are all going to be purple berries in the fall. And it just is loaded with them. I recommend getting the American version. This is not it. This is a hybrid of the American and an Asian variety. I believe this one's purple amethyst, but a lot of mine have reproduced by seed, and so they are probably not exactly the same as what the original plants were. Sort of an open pollinated mix. And here is a bad thing. Right now, I wanted to give you a quick update here. These are the cuttings that I took of the Magnolia, except these are the second set of cuttings I took. The first ones did not take well, so I've redone it. First experiment was a failure, so I'm going to try again, this time with thicker wood that's a little bit more mature than it was a few weeks ago. So we'll watch those and see how they're doing. On the good side though, the oak leaf hydrangea cutting, actually there's two of them in there, they look fantastic. So we may end up with oak leaf hydrangeas. And incidentally, right next to it, I've got some skip laurels that I put in, some Campsiporus, and there's those boxwood cuttings. Still looking pretty good. I'm giving them plenty of time. On the bad garden side, we're going to revisit the bindweed. Bindweed is such an evil plant in my mind. It goes everywhere, climbs over everything, chokes it out, and just suffocates it. Here it is along one section of our fence, and what I do for it when it's on the fence is I come down to the very bottom and I pull the root area from it and sever it from the ground, make it have to start completely over again. That's not a great fix because it will come back, but my goal with that is mostly to deplete its energy supply and to prevent it from reproducing flowers and new seed for next time. So that's the main goal when I'm dealing with bindweed. You could probably spray, but I don't like to do it, especially this close to the vegetable garden. And here is a good garden thing. This is a muskmelon. I don't remember the exact variety, but that muskmelons are cantaloupes. And they've got lots of flowers happening on it. So I'm looking forward to seeing some good cantaloupe style melons that we can use at breakfast. Now they're just like squash, where they'll produce male or female flowers, depending upon what it is. So you have to have a good combination of both. And to make sure that you do that, plant a bunch of seed, get a bunch of plants, and that's really going to increase your odds. Keep them well fertilized because they are going to want to grow. Here's another good garden thing. This is our yellow squash plant, and it is looking amazing. Just check this all out, the foliage. Look at all that flowering. Look at all those yellow squashes down there. They are just about ready to start picking. And the cool thing with squash and zucchini is the more you pick it, the more you get. So pick it often, keep the fruit small so that you have it nice and tasty and it doesn't get all thick and rough and seedy. Unless you want to collect seed at the end of the season, in which case then you kind of let them go until they're falling off the plant. I'm going to call this one a bad thing here, but our sugar snap peas are just about done producing. They've done really well. They've given us lots of tasty sugar snap peas that we've brought in and eaten, but they're kind of at the end of the season, and so it's kind of sad that they're going to be having to be cut down here pretty soon, and we'll just have to compost what's left and move on to the next thing. Here's another really good thing. This is Dinosaur Kale, and it just looks amazing. It is one of the coolest looking kales you'll ever see, and we've used it for kale chips a couple times here because the kids really love it, but you can eat the kale fresh if you want to. Nothing wrong with that at all. And it looks like somebody else has enjoyed eating it fresh. Some sort of bug, maybe slug, probably slug. I've seen them around a bit. So we've got all that going on, and it's just so cool looking. It's very ornamental, but that's Dinosaur Kale. And this is also Dinosaur Kale, so it is looking amazing. I just love it. I really think that I'd incorporate that in some flower beds somewhere just because of the cool look. And this one's a bit older, so it's kind of curling a bit, and that's kind of cool looking, very rough. Amazing, it kind of looks like a dinosaur skin or something like that. And here is another really good thing here. Lots of peppers. These are a bell pepper. I believe they're probably orange bell peppers. And they look fantastic. Nice and healthy plants, nice and healthy peppers. And hopefully before too long, we'll get to be munching on them on our dinners. So I hope that was fun for you to go through and see some of the good and some of the bad. You got to keep in mind whenever you're gardening, it's not going to all turn out correctly. It's not going to turn out perfect. Gardens are always a work in progress every step of the way. You just have to keep on top of them and keep going. Things will go wrong. I promise, they always will go wrong. But you just learn from it and move on to the next step. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Thanks for watching this video. Please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Look forward to talking to you about more garden stuff later on. Have a good one.